Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, comrades, this is Kenya Revolutionary for a very quick video today. Sifuna and Babu Owino are not special. It is cold outside, so I'm going to finish up this video and go back to my hustle. So, Poleni Sana if I don't stay long because it's actually really cold. But anyway, let's get to the matter. Sifuna and Babu Owino are not special. Why am I talking about this too? I know in the past few months leading up to Raila's death, once it was rumored that Raila was in intensive care unit or whatever the case is, was flown out of the country, and it was, there was probability that he might pass away. There was talks of where will Sifuna and Babu Owino fall. Not fall as far as politically fall, but where will they go once Raila Odinga is, Raila Odinga departs, okay? A lot of people kind of feel like these two they were viewed as rebellious within this ODM party. And a lot of people are speculating that they might leave the party before 2027, which is still a possibility, but I'll tell you why they won't. That's why the topic of this discussion today is Sifuna and Babu Owino are not special. I'm not not to disrespect them. I can't speak today. Jeez. But I'm just making a point that Sifuna and Babu Owino are your typical Kenyan politician. They are no different, and I'll explain to you why. But before we get started, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, and comments, take a minute and hit that like button. If this is your first time here, my name is Kenyan Revolutionary. I talk about Kenyan politics and world politics as it relates to Kenya. So if you like that kind of content, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your friends. I'm Anamnagani. All right, if you're already subscribed and you've done all the good stuff, the first order of business, like that video, okay? And make sure your notification bell is on so every time I come in, you know what's up. Let's get to Sifuna. Now, everyone was kind of shocked, bewildered when they saw Sifuna in that National Executive Committee, whatever the case is, that meeting of ODM guys when they met in that hotel, Serena Hotel, I think it was, and they had a discussion. And it was Sifuna, who's the Secretary General, took the podium and read the speech, emphasizing the need of ODM staying in this MOU pact with UDA, President Ruto, who is very unpopular. And a lot of people, even within ODM supporters, that is, I'm not talking about members, supporters, they're calling out for the end of this MOU because Baba is gone. What's there to stay there for? I mean, no one is gaining from this thing. But of course, the top bigwigs within the ODM party has a stake in this. Oburu, Opio Andai, Mbadi, and all those people who are now in government are part of the executive branch. They have a stake in it. They're getting an extra paycheck. They're getting the trappings of power, the red carpet, the security, the Mweshimiwa tag, the traveling allowance, whatever. You know the drill, right? So these guys, it is in their best interest to see that, number one, Oburu takes Raila Odinga's position, which he has as the chairperson of the owner, whatever the case is, the owner of ODM, basically, who runs things, okay? And number two, again, they want to maintain their position. As I say, they like the trappings of power. They like the proximity within, which they can actually, tap into Ruto and tell him, hey, listen, can you cut me a check for doing the X and Y, Z, okay? So that's why these people are really pushing for Oburu Odinga to take over from his brother. That's why you see people like Gladys Wanga and the politicians within ODM who know they are not popular with the people, but they were basically put there, basically they rose into prominence because of Raila Odinga, them paying Raila Odinga or, sucking up to Raila Odinga. Karibu sana Dom King, nice seeing you. Let me see what you say. I can read it. Nothing new, brother. We are just here talking about politics. Tukichambua politics. But anyway, like I said, so Sifuna, let me tell you something about Sifuna. Let me just get to Sifuna before I get to Babu Owino, okay? Sifuna always fools people. He makes people think that he's actually fighting for the people. But Sifuna is a typical Kenyan politician. He's no different. People view him as that young Turk, the young folks within ODM who can in the future have a bright future within ODM or in politics in general. But if you follow closely to Sifuna's politics, of course, he doesn't he doesn't fail to remind the public that it was Baba who put him there, and he made a name for himself as the senator of whatever. Okay. Now, let's trace back Sifuna's footsteps as far as when the Gen Zs were out there in 2024, June 25th, and the events thereafter. Sifuna was thumping his nose, throwing his middle finger at the Gen Zs, unashamedly, boldly stating that he doesn't care about what the Gen Z do in the streets. He cares about the arrangement, the possible arrangement at that time of between the ODM and Raila Odinga. Remember, when the Gen Zs went to the streets, they were telling Raila Odinga, please don't get involved in this. We want to take care of Ruto. We're about to take him out. But of course, Raila did not take heed to this precaution. And he went ahead and met Ruto. And while they were having talks, remember that meeting at Ninio when Sifuna, Raila, Kalonzo was also there, because remember that's when Raila was trying to say that it was Kalonzo who actually alimuita akamwambia ati waende wakasign to appear when Ruto was signing that IBC amendment bill. Remember that? Remember that when they were meeting outside? I think it was outside KICC or something like that. Okay, and Raila had a lot of backlash because a lot of Gen Z started saying, "Why did you go up there? Kwa nini Baba anahusiana na nani Kasongo? We told him to sit outside, not to get involved." But he came out and said that Kalonzo ndiye alimpigia simu akamwambia ati please be present at the signing of the amendment bill, which became IBC amendment law. Okay. So anyway, after that, Sifuna was catching flack too, because everyone was like, Sifuna, what are you doing? Where unaendaga kwa nini you're always in these morning talk shows, news talk shows, speaking against Kasongo, but here you are defending the position. You're pro NADCO, you're pro BBI, you're pro MOU between ODM and UDA. Of course, Sifuna, he has the right to make that decision to to join Kasongo's this MOU arrangement. Okay, but the problem is that Sifuna, when he's addressing the crowd uko mashinani, he acts as if he's against Kasongo. You just saw him the other day when he was saying the day that if ODM decides to choose pick President Ruto as their presidential candidate, that is the day that he will resign. But this is a faker, okay? This guy is a faker. Remember, there was a day when he was saying that Ruto akikuwa president atahama Kenya. He never went up there. This guy is all talk. He's an empty talk. He talks a lot of nonsense, things that he doesn't mean. He's not ideologically principled. He's not principled in the first place. He's just a talker. He's like Onyonka, okay? That guy from Kisii County, whatever the case is. And the other Kenyan, all these political, majority of these Kenyan politicians, wakienda huko mashinani, they want to say what the people feel. Wanajifanya ati wako na nyinyi huko mashinani, wanajifanya one time. But he never actually stands to what he says. I challenged Sifuna earlier this year, and I said, Sifuna, instead of going to this news talk shows every morning and arguing with these pinheads like Wakina Nani, what do you call him, Wakina Chirage? If you really believe that Ruto is one term and you're against this, the direction that ODM is taking as far as its commitment into this MOU, this marriage that they have with UDA, which is a failing, sinking ship. If you truly believe that, if you're principled enough, please have enough balls to resign from your position as the Secretary General of ODM and leave the party altogether and seek re-election as an independent. That people shall respect you and see you as a man of your words. Okay, people will believe you because you would have illustrated and exhibited and shown the people that you mean what you say. It's not just talk. But Sifuna, when he goes to when he's addressing the crowd, anajifanya ati one time because it's the popular thing to say. He wants to play to the gallery. Okay, he's a demagogue basically. Try to pretend like he's with the people. Okay, he's relating to the people. And anafanya sijui nini akina. Sifuna is not. Sifuna is a typical politician. Okay, he's talking all this crap about Kasongo. At the end of the day, he looks like a fool when he was reading that statement by ODM. Wakina Gladys Wanga, Oburu, alimweka kwa room wakamwambia Sifuna, hiyo mambo yako kuongea para soma hii kitu hapa and tell the people video so that we don't have any kind of misunderstanding of where ODM and UDA stands. And Sifuna was sitting there reading it like a little boy who was being told to read ABCD. Okay, so Sifuna is no different. So for those of you who think that Sifuna is this, this is the shining armor, this guy has a bright future as far as in the liberation of Kenya, Sifuna is not. Sifuna is a typical politician, okay? Kenyan politician, that is. The only difference is his name hasn't come up about any scandal as far as corruption or any kind of, weird business that other politicians are usually embroiled in, okay? That's the only difference. But as far as the politicking part of it, Sifuna is nothing but empty talk. He's talk. But at the end of the day, he's still up there in ODM. He doesn't want to lose his check. He doesn't want to lose his seat. He doesn't want to lose relevance. So he has to say all this nonsense and debate this the pinheads like Cheragay and Mungatana. Okay, to score some few points here and there. But Sifuna is not it. Ujama is full of it. I used to think that he's actually somebody who has a bright, is going to be useful in the struggle, but he's not. Let me start here because baridi inakuja. So let me get to the second one. Babu Owino, ongeli mwenyewe, Babu Owino. Babu Owino came out and I guess, I don't know if it was going viral, but he has this thing that he usually teaches mathematics online on his YouTube channel or whatever the case, his social media platform. And you wonder, Babu Owino, do you want to be a math teacher or do you want to be a governor or are you an MP? Like, what's up with you, Babu Owino, okay? I don't know. To me, what it seems like, Babu Owino is trying so hard to convince the public that he is intelligent. He is trying to convince the Kenyan public so much that he's intelligent. That's why you saw he went there and alipata law degree. Now he's a lawyer. Mara he has an extra degree and I don't know what. Now he's teaching mathematics on his social media. You're trying too hard, Babu Owino. You're trying too hard to convince Kenyans that you're actually intelligent and you're competent. I don't have a problem with what you're doing, okay? If you want to teach the kids maths, that's okay. But make up your mind, okay? We need a lot of teachers in Kenya, okay? Can you join the teaching crew? But first, my issue with Babu Owino is this. Like I said, he's a likable young man. He wants to be somebody, of course. He's very ambitious. But my issue with Babu Owino is this. Babu Owino, your past will always haunt you. Okay? Your past will always haunt you. You were caught on camera shooting somebody, attempted murder. You cannot run away from that. Whether you teach people, blind kids, how to do backflips, or teach you, even if you heal the sick from dying, or whatever the case is, even if you resurrect Baba. Babu Owino, you are always going to have that tag as a murderer because we saw you on video camera trying to shoot somebody to death and you did not serve time for it. Now, ungeenda jela committee, userve time yako, tungesema, okay, Babu has paid his price, then inio, rudi unaweza kusimama. Okay? But even so, you won't be able to smama because you will not be able to pass chapter 6 because at that point you'll be a convicted criminal. Okay? But this is Kenya. You have people like Sonko and Joho running for anything because, regarding, you have criminals, that's MP, governor of Kiambu. Is it Kiambu or Ninio? Wamatangi. Wamatangi was stealing cars in UK and is wanted, cannot even leave Kenya because Interpol might catch him. But that's Kenya, right? You have criminals who are pretending to be your representatives, but they're looting from the Kenyan people. That's the society we live in. So even though Babu Owino, you're doing all this stuff, you cannot pass chapter 6. I'm sorry, you will not. And you can see people are starting, your enemies, political enemies. I told you in the other video that Babu Owino, the mistake you did is you showed your hand way too early. Never make your intentions known publicly early. Your ambitions should be close to your heart. Wewe ulianza kuambia watu unataka kurun governor. Do you know how many people will plan for you for your downfall now? Hata hawa watu ambao unasikia ati wanaekea watu sumu, wanaua watu. They might even wanaweza kukuwekea sumu hata wewe pia uende. Yeah? So you should there's ways to move, okay? But Babu Owino, like I said, he's young and he doesn't know better, okay? And don't be fooled by hao crowd ambao wanakushangilia hapo. They don't get to decide nothing. Babu Owino unanisikia? That crowd that keeps on wanakubea ati wewe ndio kingpin, they do not get to decide your future. Wale watu, ile system, wale watu wanaitanga system, hao ndio decide. Usinimajua. So, whether you stay on ODM or DCP, I think Babu Owino, you're going to hit a rough place in 2027. Personally, that's what I think. As much as people think that, unaenda kuwa governor, I think if you don't play your cards right, you might be screwed in 2027, especially if you run for governor. I think you might be screwed because, like I said, Baba's death, Raila's death, totally changed how the game is going to be played now. Okay, because Raila he stopped a lot of things, even though he is what he is and also a typical Kenyan politician, but he stopped a lot of things. But now that he's not around, I know you're probably not in good terms with him or whatever the case is. But Babu Owino Ngili, now wale watu wa system are who are going to decide your future. Now let me explain this to you, Babu Owino. Maybe you don't understand what I'm saying. Listen to me, Babu Owino. These ODM guys that you see are sticking with Ruto. Number one, they don't like you. That's number one. You know that. You already know that. Hata ukienda DCP, hata uende wapi. Okay? What these people are going to do, they are going to negotiate with Ruto, because Ruto now holds a lot of, holds the card on how some things shall be done. There's some things that are under his control, the system. Akona a lot of control in the system. Okay, because he's the president and he has the anatumia intelligence unit, NIS, na hizo mambo yote. Okay, so what these people, these ODM folks are, Oburu, Junet, Wanga, Atandi, Opio and I, all these people, okay, the big wigs, they know the people do not like them. Okay, because of their association with the president. Not only that, even uko kwenye mashinani uko, they have done nothing for their community, so nobody likes them. So they have to cling to power. But they are power brokers because they are ODM. And Ruto is accepting them because Ruto doesn't care that he will win Nyanza. He will win it because he's going to rig. But he just wants that appearance. He wants that perception that standing with Wanga, Opio and I, Oburu Odinga, Raila family, and Wakina Junet will translate into votes. The perception will be, since he is in this MOU with these ODM bigwigs, that means Nyanza shall vote for Ruto. That is how he will justify his rigging in Nyanza, even if the Nyanza people do not do not vote for him. So, what these people are going to do, Ruto, Ongele, unasikia? Listen to me, Ongele. Babu Owino unanisikia? So, all these people who are ambao wameshikana na Ruto, they will make a deal with Ruto to fix you, kuku screw up. Unasikia? Politically, because they don't like you. They do not like you. Okay? Listen, I think you even have a better chance going to opposition. But even if you go to opposition, they will still bado watakumaliza, because Hao ndio wako na system. Unasikia? Let me explain something to you so you can, let me explain it in the other way so you can understand how this thing plays out. You know, Ruto could not twist Raila Odinga because Raila Odinga, not only ODM was his personal party, was his briefcase, he had the people behind him. He could not twist Raila Odinga because Raila Odinga, ODM was him and him was ODM. And the support of Luo Nyanza was strongly behind Raila Odinga. It even goes past the name of Nyanza. It goes to Coastal Province and other provinces, okay? He had that influence, okay? And that is the bargaining chip that Raila had that kept Ruto in a leash and kept Kibaki, not Kibaki and Uhuru on a leash. Anything he wanted, he will tell them, this is what I want. Or umekata, tunaenda maandamano. Let's see if you're going to govern. Unaelewa? That's how Raila played it. Hatutaki kunipatia nini? Okay. Haya, tuone basi. Tuende maandamano. Tunaenda maandamano. Within 2 weeks, Kenya imechafuka, hawezi kufanya kitu. Hata kutoa speech hapo hawezi kutoa. Kwa sababu that is the kind of influence Raila had, and he used it to his advantage. Now that he's gone, wewe Ongele, you can't pull the same thing because ODM saizi imekuwa chukuliwa na Oburu and those people around Oburu, wakina Wanga, Atandi, Opio Wandai, Junet, hao ndio wameshika Oburu hivi. Na ndio anaambia Oburu, tukae tu hapa kwa hii ninio. You know? And wewe Babu Owino, you don't have influence within the ODM party. Wewe ni member tu. Hawezi kukuenua wakuweke secretary general au wakuweke kitu wengine. You're just there. And you see how they've ostracized. Wamekuweka mbali. Arm distance. Wamekutupa nje basically. You're just surviving. Unaelewa? Yani uko tu hapo. What is helping you, Babu Owino, is the few youth who see you as an exciting person because, you know, tokenism kidogo hapa. So, wanakushangilia. Unaona? You have support by those youth ambao wamekupenda. I'm not taking that away from you. But your support is not as huge as Raila Odinga's support to the point where unaweza kusimamisha serikali yote useme this country is ungovernable. Unaona? So you have nothing to present Ruto with. Ile unaweza twist mwambie Ruto, usipofanya hivi mimi nafanya hivi. Tunaenda maandamano. Unasikia? Like I say, Raila could do it. Raila anaweza kuambia, Ruto utaki kunipatia prime minister, utaki kuweka watu wangu dinio. Haya, tuone basi. Tuone vile utakava. Tunaenda maandamano. Kitu inasimama, biashara inasimama, kila siku inasimama, kila kitu inasimama mpaka nini anaenda ku whatever British High Commission anapigia Ruto anamwambia patia huo mzee kitu ndio maisha iendelee. Unaona? Yeah, the lawyers might vote for Sifuna. That's true. That's true. So the reason why I'm saying you're screwed, Nani, you have to play your Babu Owino. Hold on kidogo. Regarding Babu Owino, can Kikuyu's Kamba Luo vote for him in Nairobi if he joins opposition? How much control does ODM have in Nairobi voters? That's a good point. And that's what I'm saying. Babu Owino, you're screwed. Why? Because if, especially, and this is interrelated, if Sifuna, let's say maybe Sifuna nangoja the last minute atoke ODM. Let's just assume that. No, because already the lawyers are feeling some type of way about Sifuna staying in ODM. Kwa sababu wanaona hizi inaitwa changamoto ama nini? Hii vita watu wanachapa Sifuna saa yote. Hao wana ODM ambao wanasumbua Sifuna hapa kwa hii nilio. Wanasumbua Sifuna. So lawyers are saying that is our son. Ushaanza kuwasikia. Na Sasa Sifuna kitoka ODM, Babu Owino, hautapigiwa kura wewe. Wacha nikwambie. So let me tell you something. Let me gather my thoughts. Let me gather my thoughts. I'm getting excited over nothing. Hii kahawa ina choma. Babu Owino, since I said Raila had two things. He had the ODM party, which enjoyed some influence in Western Kenya, and it was mostly due to Raila himself, the person, because the guy had been there since 1921, okay? And he had enough influence in the country where he can organize a maandamano that can bring the country to a standstill and force the president to make a deal with him. Babu Owino, you don't have that. The ODM does not belong to you. You don't control it like Raila did control ODM, and you have no say in the decision making. That's why they've ostracized you. So now you are just clinging on your own fame. Ile fame uko nayo na vijana ambao wanasema babu, babu, babu. Unaelewa? Now the question is that your makelele ya babu, babu, is that enough to translate into victory in gubernatorial seat in Nairobi? My answer initially right now is no. I tell you why. I've seen those two candidates, or three, I think, that come from Rima. Okay, Kikuyus. Let's get tribal here because we vote into tribal lines. Let's just not pretend, okay? Sakaja is Agona. Sakaja amejua anaiba vile anaweza kuiba ndio aishie. Amejua saa yake imepita. Ati tuko matanga ya ODM. But anyway, Ishi Mariam karibu sana. So what I'm saying is this. If there's a Mount Kenya Kikuyu candidate, votes za Kikuyu itaenda wapi? Itaenda hapo. Nakumbuka there's a huge number of Kikuyus in Nairobi. Hiyo imeenda huko. DCP wakiweka hiyo niyo yao itaenda huko. Now Mount Kenya Kikuyu, hiyo candidate itaenda now. ODM are against you, Babu Owino. Wanakasirika kwa sababu wanaona they are jealous of your fame. Wewe umeanza kuambia ati wewe ndio the next kingpin. Oh, wewe ndio kingpin. Haya, tuende tuone. They are going to plot against you. Wataweka hata candidate wengine hapo wa gubernatorial. Hata anaweza kutafuta kamluya fulani hapo, mluya. Because you know, wakiweka mluya hapo, Nairobi is also populated with Luya vote. Waende hapo ichukue hiyo the Luya vote imeenda hapo hivyo. So utabaki na hii Jaluo vote only. Unaona? Jaluo vote, is it enough to win gubernatorial seat in Nairobi? I don't know. I don't think so. Especially given the fact that all these other candidates shall take away from you. Unasikia? And you can see the campaign already right now online against Babu Owino. Watu wanauliza, huyu jamaa, huyu ni Mjaluo kweli? Huyu ni mtoto Ongili, huyu ni mtoto wa Patel. Oh, ile kesi yako ya nani DJ Vol inaletwa tena. Mambo yako ya kuvuta sijui nini inaletwa tena. You see what I'm saying? But this is on you. This is the mistake you made. Wewe ulionyesha your intention kitambo, which was your biggest mistake. Wakina Robert Alai, even people within ODM, your party hawataki kukuninio, kukusupport kwa sababu they are jealous. Wewe ulitoka tu kaanza kuambia ati wewe unataka kuwa governor. Na hao wanafikiria wewe unataka kuwa governor kama nani? Unaona? So Babu Owino, if you are not careful, unaweza kujipata hauko katika, you're not a public servant in 2027. Now, if you want to cross over to the opposition, ushikane na Kalonzo, because I saw you ulienda ukaadinio Kalonzo hapo, uka-endorse Kalonzo as president of 2027. What are you going to offer them in return? Kwa sababu hii, there have to be some kind of reciprocity. What are you bringing to them? Sawa, uende kwa opposition uambie, please endorse me for the gubernatorial seat in Nairobi. Wakamba wakupigie, Kalonzo wakupigie, Gachagua wakupigie. What are you going to give them in return? Are you able to carry the Nyanza votes and convince them to vote for Kalonzo or Gachagua or Matiang'i or whoever is on the opposition who is going to be part of the opposition? That's the question. Within Nyanza province, I personally don't think so. I think you have enough influence. You have some influences in Nyanza province, Babu Owino, not enough to bring enough votes for the opposition for Ruto to lose. I'm talking about if you are to have a fair, square election, which we are not going to have a fair and square elections. Okay? So, Babu usipojichu, mi vile naona, you are in very choppy waters. Nasikia? But it's how you play it. Ni vile utaicheza. Hii si ile, hii mpaka ucheze ile tactics. Enda kapigie Guardiola. You want some ninio? Nipigie simu. Babu Owino, nipigie simu. I told you, I can give you some ninio. Ndio ushinde hapa. I'm very expensive though for my time. Consultation, political consultant. Very, very expensive. Ni vile utaicheza. And I know how you can play it. Wewe nipigie tu simu nikwambie. Kufundisha watu vijana hapo ninio mathematics. You are not. See, the thing is, wacha nikwambie. The thing is this, Babu Owino. Stop trying to convince people that you are intelligent. Kenyans don't vote people who are intelligent. Okay? They don't. They do not. They would like riffraffs. You fit the bill. You're a riffraff. But, vile nakuambia, your biggest hurdle is your past. Is your past. And the problem is that you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Because sticking with ODM is tricky because in the hierarchical order of ODM, the people up there in ODM do not want you in ODM. And the opposition, ni watu iffy. You don't even know if this opposition shall stand together. Are they going to stick? Will Gachagua stay there? Matiang'i? Wako iffy. Ndio nakwambia, the reason why you might even lose in 2027 is because especially it is dependent upon Ruto's sticking with the ODM folks, Oburu and the ODM. If ODM sticks with Oburu and Ruto, Babu Owino, you're done. Because they will make sure hawa watu wa ODM wataambia Ruto enda kafanya ninio hiyo usarakasi na ile kitu hapo Nairobi, Ongile asipate hiyo kitu. Or they can simply bring those cases back again. Waseme huyu jamaa alipiga mtu bunduki bwana, chapter 6 atapitaje? There's so many ways to skin this cat. So many ways. Unaona? Ndio maana anasema Babu Owino, wewe you are not moving right. Gudi anakuona, you are not moving right. You're not navigating the vizuri. Mpaka unavigate, you have to be a shark. Papa. A shark knows how to move. Anaangalia. Akismell damu hivi. Pap! Na hiyo amewahi. Lakini wewe, you're moving like ngech. Monitor lizard. Hiyo tialala itaisha. Because you have too many people, enemies. Wewe initially wewe ungenyamaza tu, unyamaze tu, no, enda huko chini ya maji huko, shikana na wale, shikana huko, Babu Owino, bwana wewe unajiangusha. But it's up to you. Play it how you play. Mimi nilikwambia consultation fee hapa, down payment ni 50,000 USK. I charge 100K per every renew. So I'll tell you, it's very cheap. Very cheap. Yeah? Anyway, let me see. Don Kieran anasema, let me read some comments here. What if Babu joins Kalonzo? Can it tilt any votes? No. Because I don't think it will tilt any votes. Votes to who? Votes to Kalonzo in Nyanza, or votes of the Kamba vote in Nairobi? That's what I would ask. That's what I'm saying. There has to be some level of reciprocity. If Babu Owino was to join Kalonzo, which he endorsed Kalonzo in that Ninio, when Kalonzo was having his own thing there, okay, wiper thing, he did. What does Kalonzo gain from Babu's endorsement? What does he get behind that? What votes is he bringing in? Can Kalonzo win in Luo Nyanza? That's the first question you have to ask yourself. Can Kalonzo Musyoka carry and win Nyanza province? Let's say Luo Nyanza. Can he get votes and beat Ruto in Luo Nyanza? If Ruto was to stick with ODM in this broad base? That's the question that I would ask. As it stands right now, because we don't know what's going to happen in 2027, the answer is no. But things can change. But I don't think, as of right now, as long as ODM is in this arrangement, the answer is no. But it is also dependent on whether this united opposition shall stay united. Because I think if Kalonzo, and I usually say that these people are not, you know my position, but I'll just play this politics just for the sake of playing it. If Kalonzo is the flag bearer of the united opposition, he has a very good case to make on the people of Nyanza province, to the Nyanza people. He can go to Nyanza and say, hey, Baba trusted me. I've always supported Baba. He told me I was next. So let's fulfill Baba's whatever, okay? Because Kalonzo, if you look at him, even though he's a charlatan, he's non-confrontational. He's not like Gachagua. He's not like Matiang'i. Ni mtu ambaye anajiweka mungwana. Uelewa? So the Nyanza people might see him as somebody, they might consider him. Because if you look at Matiang'i, we shall be reminding him of what he did in Rivayala. If you look at Gachagua, I don't think will even try to campaign in Nyanza province because already he has ameshajitenga. Yani amejiweka a tribal leader, okay? And naturally people, it's just not going to work, okay? There's no way the people of Nyanza shall vote for Gachagua, okay? So that's not there. Martha Karua, she has no support even in her backyard, so I don't think they'll even entertain Martha Karua. The few people, it's not working. But Kalonzo has a legit chance to actually woo some votes from Nyanza. So it also depends. That's why there's so many variables in this. So if Kalonzo is the united opposition, people say, okay, Kalonzo and Sasimama, they agree that Kalonzo ndio mtu, then you bring Babu Owino in the mix to help Kalonzo campaign in Nyanza, waseme, huyu jamaa amekuwa akisupport Baba since 2000 and I don't know when. He might get some votes. Okay? So it's a possibility, but there's too many variables here. As it stands, no. Nani anasema, what do you say? Babu Owino number one enemy is not even Kasongo, it's ODM. Absolutely. You're right. Babu Owino's enemy is ODM. That's why I'm saying the way ODM shall work to defeat Babu Owino in gubernatorial seat is the ODM hierarchy. If they stick with Ruto as it seems to be, wataenda kushikana na Ruto na wataambia Ruto, hebu use your NIS na hizo the system so that huyu jamaa asishinde hiyo gubernatorial seat, kwa sababu wanajifanya yeye ndio sasa Raila is the kingpin. Tumalize, wacha tukate hii pembe yake. You see what I'm saying? And that's how Babu Owino shall be Ninio. The ODM hierarchy will, together with Ruto, if the deal is ODM endorses Ruto to be the presidential candidate in 2027, they can use that. They'll say, hey, Ruto, we shall support you, but in return, we need a little favor in Nairobi. Huyu kijana akona pembe sana, anataka kugeuka Raila hapa. Na unajua vile Raila alikuwa anatupatia shida sana. Let's get rid of this kijana, politically speaking, that's what I mean. And hey, not only politically, they might wanaweza kufanya ile kitu bwana. Wanaweza kufanya ile kitu walifanyia Babu. So that's what I'm saying. Babu is not in the best position right now, but it all depends on how he plays it. Babu Owino, consultation hapo bure. Okay, that's a good point. Wacha ni good na kuona hapo, karibu sana, karibu Shei Mario na kuona. Aya. No one is moving well in Kenya. They are all under Ruto's. Yeah, ni kweli. Ruto, yeah. Ruto anachezea chess, nyinyi mnacheza checkers. Aya. Shimaria anasema ngojeni Kasongo apenetrate ODM ndio itakufa na isaulike, kwa hakuna itaenda ticket ya ODM. Remember hata baba akiwa hai, hii by election watu walikuwa wanagoma kuchukua tickets na ODM. Absolutely. Huko ni nio. Yeah. ODM has been dying. Ndio maana I won't be surprised if ODM actually endorses Ruto to be the presidential candidate in 2027. In fact, that is what it is right now. I mean, ukiona Oscar Sudi amekutana na Mama Ida huko, kweli mambo inageuka. Mambo Will Ruto choose a running mate from Murima or ODM? Kasongo atajichanganya. I think, like, again, if Ruto stays in this MOU with ODM, he'll probably choose somebody from Nyanza, because I think Ruto understand that Murima is a no-go place. Hata sijifanya na campaign. I mean, he'll campaign kwa sababu ya Kindiki, you know. But I think this time he'll be faced with, unless a negotiator, because you know what, these ODM folks, hawa ni ma hyenas. Hawa watu wamebaki hawa kwa ODM, these are hyenas. Unaona? There are people who are talking about they should put Wanga as the sijui nini, you know. So it just depends. It depends. Ruto might not choose a vice president from Nyanza. Let me thinking about it. Ruto might not choose a vice president, a running mate from Nyanza, simply because I think Ruto can explain to these hyenas from ODM. He will tell them, nasikia, mimi nikikuwa president, don't worry, I'll maintain this position mnataka. Si mnataka wewe unataka Mbadi, utakaa hapo, treasury bado sijui nini, utakaa hapo. But he might choose somebody from Mlima just to give the illusion, you know, to try to fool people that he's reaching out to the Mlima people, knowing very well that he does not enjoy support in Mlima. So he might still stick with Kindiki or somebody else from Mlima. Okay? But because the ODM folks, I don't think, listen, hawa watu wa ODM hawa wamebaki hawa wako kwa hii MOU na nani. They don't care about anything as long as Ruto wins and Ruto gives them an appointment, appoints them to a certain position. Wewe ukuwa minister wa sijui kuvuka ferry or kuchimba choo, They don't care as long as wapate a position kwa serikali. You understand what I'm saying? That's why ODM does not have a lot of negotiating power. Unasikia? Mlima has more, kama tuseme a leader from Mlima who has some kind of support is more useful than a ODM politician. Because ODM in itself does not enjoy a lot of support on the ground. The support is waning on the ground. Because the king is dead. And the king was everything. The king was the influence, the king was the aura, the king was the influencing factor about that party. But now that the king is dead, no one is there who is really can bring people in. So Ruto does not need ODM that much because he understands these ODM stooges, they're already hanging on him because they like the shiny things. So he can just promise them and tell them, hey, listen, don't worry, just support me. When I win, tutaweka kwa MOU contract. When I win, I'll make you minister of this, CS of this, CS of that, CS, and Wandai will be happy. You can see Wandai is getting fat by the minute. Okay? You see what I'm saying? Watafurahia hiyo. The challenge is Murima and other places. Unasikia? That's why Ruto is so investing heavy in Northeastern, Somali, because he wants to counter that Mlema with that. But he will still make that, I believe he will still maybe stick with Kindiki or try to get somebody from Mlema to be a running mate. Hata kama ni yule mama wa governor ambao alikuwa huko anaitwa Waiguru or something. He might pull that. Or not. Knowing he will lose, but the argument is akisha rig na after he rigs himself in 2027, the argument is he will say that unaona mimi hata kama watu wa Mlima walinikataa nilichukua dada wao hapo nikamweka nikapatia kiti kama vice president or whatever running mate. You see what I'm saying? That's how they're going to play it. And again, you never know. Ruto might be working with Nani, with Uhuru and Gideon, as he has told us. And if he gets Uhuru, wakishikana na Uhuru might not come out and support him wazi, but Uhuru might come out and say, you know what? Hii Kenya unajua kuna mambo mingi, sasa tuwache tu jamaa amalize, alafu tuone vile tutafanya huko mbele. You see how Kenyans always play this politics? Is because Uhuru might know that watu wa Mlima hawataki Ruto, but he might pull what he said about yule mzee. Atakuja hapo sema hata huyu mzee kama hamtaki, huyu mzee and he might come out and pull that up. Aseme instead of overtly supporting Ruto, he might come out and say just for the sake of peace, tusikuwe na mizozo mingi hapa, tuache tu nani amalize hapa. So yeah, but basically what I'm trying to say in not so many words is this: Ruto has everything. He has a lot of advantage with Raila gone because he has the system. The system is with him. So sasa ni kupanga tu watu, kupanga watu. Now, the real support from the people is not there. Don't get me twisted. Don't get it twisted. The real support from the people is not there. But hawa magandawala, hawa watu, these political prostitutes, hawa watu wanajiuza every day, these idiots politicians, ni bei tu, unaenda tu na wewe ngapi? Haya kuja. Wewe ngapi? You see what I'm saying? That's why he's going to harvest these politicians, which is not a translation of votes, but he will do so to create the perception that by bringing in a particular politician from a region, that is, he's going to get votes from that region that politician comes from. If I make sense. I hope I make sense. Anyway. Haya, comment naziona hapo. Babu Owino dramatization. Kasongo anachukua wanga. Wanga is very desperate because Wanga I think watu wanasema Wanga will Wanga might not make it in 2027. Atachujwa. She's not popular. Raila ndio, eh? Ruto has got the office till 2032. Stop sleeping at the wheel. Ai, Goodyear naye anatuambia. Goodyear ni kama ameanza sasa. Oburu ataleta votes gapi? Oburu will bring sympathy votes. Oburu will bring sympathy votes. Now Oburu is like, yani, is the mini baba. Watu watamvotia tu kwa sababu yeye ni ndugu ya baba. So Babu cannot influence Nyanza. I think he has the possibility of making a name for himself, but he will face a lot of challenges. Babu sahi anafaa ajue when, where, and who to wine with. Absolutely, that's a good point. Don't you understand that you can't bite the hands that feed you, or it's all streetwise? Absolutely. Ati Martha Karua kona nini? Martha Karua kona team Kipril. Ay, wewe wacha jokes. Ay. Ati join mathematics. Ati join Babu Owino's mathematics class. It's as smart as his politics. Aya, nitajoin basi. Sijui nakujanga saa ngapi tuingie huko. To learn x squared minus sijui nini. Where does Natembea stand in all this? Natembea ni wale tu wanaongezwa. Unajua, unatembea ni kama ushapika ninio, ushapika chakula na ishaiva, sasa unaongezea tu ile coloring tu ndio ionekane vizuri, but chakula ishaiva already. Si ati analeta kitu kingine ya maana, ni kuongeza tu ile coloring tu na hiyo tawe yake. That is how Natembea is. I don't think it's a big factor in the Western Province. Man, Western Province is so divided. Gladys Wanga, my food. Ruto is not desperate. Favorite word. And Waiguru has none as per prophets. I won't. You know what? I won't. Sita Ninio. I will not count that out. Waiguru might be Ninio. Na ile kichwa yake. Waiguru might be a Ninio. I'm telling you. I wouldn't be surprised. Asichukue Ndindi wetu. Kindiki ni malenge tu anataka Weta na Mudavadi. Hakuna votes. He'll not deliver by elections. Nani anaitwale? Ndindi Nyoro does a lot of business with Uhuru. Ndindi Nyoro does a lot of business with Ruto. So I don't think he will put himself as a Ruto supporter because he understands Mlima unajua ni hot. Mlima ukianza kusupport Ruto anza tu hama mwanzo kabla hujaanza before you declare that you're supporting Kasongo, hama from Mlima kabla hujasema kitu, hama kwa sababu nyumba yako itachomwa. So Goodyear anasema naye. Do not understand Ruto Gachagua Kalonzo partnership with the help of Uncle Uhuru. If only the Kenyans believe Uhuru's sense of humor, we won't be where we are now. Absolutely. Mimi naambia watu watakusanyika. Survival the fittest. Samia Costa na kuona hapo, weka like. Rosemary Odinga may be propped up something. Yeah, but you know, even if they prop up these Raila's kids, you know, you have to earn your stripes. Vijana hata Winnie or whatever. Raila, he earned his stripes. Like him or not. Mombasa and Nairobi, ODM will be replaced by Kalonzo. That's a good point. Because, you know, there's a lot of Kambas in Nairobi and Mombasa. So, you know, you never know. That's a possibility. But like I say, Kalonzo doesn't seem like an aggressive campaigner. you have to campaign aggressively. Ashikane na wale warabu huko Mombasa, to help him get some juice in the streets. Anyone can run, win right now, and win juu hawa wabunge wote wanaenda nyumbani. That's a good point. Yes, anyone can win. Kwa sababu hawa wabunge wanaenda nyumbani. Yeah, majority of them are probably going home. But again, I won't be so sure ati wote wanaenda nyumbani, because like I usually tell you guys, system IBC is compromised. So mtashangaa. Si mnaona nini inafanyika Cameroon nyinyi? Bia, sijui baya, buya. What's that president who's 175? Ameshinda his, I don't know. Sasa mtamka kama Cameroon. Utamka mtaona ni wale. Yeah? They can't even campaign openly. Yeah. Rano TV, sijui, but Rano natuambia 2020 sijui that, but 2032 Gideon Moi might be president. Most of these old-timers, including Ruto, are expiring by 2027. Hey, yeah. Yeah, but Gideon Moi probably is eyeing some top position. Ndio maana unaona amerudi kwa siasa. So, you're right. He might be somewhere in the mix. As far as running for being president, I don't think so. Gideon Moi has a long way to go. Long way to go. Kwa sababu, what shida ya Gideon ni hivi, ni babake, you know. If there's anything associated with everything wrong with Kenya, we always mention Moi. So if you hear Gideon Moi, aye. You hata watu tu, but listen, but Gideon Moi will be in the mix. He'll be somewhere. Maybe he'll be part of the cabinet, or he will be a senator or a governor somewhere. He'll be in the mix in politics, okay? That's for sure. But as far as president, I don't know. Why is Kalonzo not moving around like his people? Paul Biya, thank you. Yeah, Kalonzo is you need him by Kalonzo. Like I say, Kalonzo is not aggressive. That's his problem. Listen, if I was Kalonzo right now under this corrupt system and I'm corrupt, mimi ningekuwa Raila saizi. Mimi ningekuwa Raila, the influence Raila kura. Ningekuwa natembea hapo nasema, saizi hata ningekuwa Bondo saizi niko na ida hapo. Naambia, unajua bwana wako ndiye alikuwa ameniamini akaniweka running mate mara 3. Hata nilijaribu kuiba certificate ya ODM na akanikubalia nibaki rudi. Play into that. That's like Kalonzo anangoja afanyiwe sijui nini. That's the problem, Kalonzo. But anyway, guys, my ninio inakufa. My gadget is dying, so I have to like leave it here. Sababu kosa nasema sahi wataanza kutumbayumba kama ndege hawana makao. Haya. But anyway, guys, subscribe, share, like, comment, and do all the good stuff. Mpaka nimaliza sasa. Rona hatutaki kina Uhuru na Kasongo and Moi's families in the top seat. Yeah, guys, subscribe, share, like, comment, and do all the good stuff. Ni yangu inakufa. Kuna nataka kufika 1 hour lakini Kalonzo hata Kalonzo ako 73. Oh my goodness, I didn't know Kalonzo ako 73. Ile sola yana ikanga kwa kipara yake inafanya anaonekana kijana. Kumbe ni kazee. Kalonzo mzioka. This is, if there's a moment Kalonzo anafanya but yeah, I nearly fell off my seat. Bire for Cameroon, I watched one of his conference before where he was asking his aide what people were saying. The Cameroonian president, akwambia Cameroon. Nyinyi mnasema Kenya hata kama siasa yetu ni Cameroon kuna drama. Ati nauliza aid wake, what do they want? Ati anajui nini inaendelea. Yeye anaona watu na maandamano. He's like, what is Ai, Omar Bia sijui Bia. Cameroon wako serious bada. Na anaishi Switzerland, hata aishi Cameroon. That's a nice one. Anyway, guys, wacha nimalizie. If this is your first time, please subscribe, share, like, comment, and share this video. That was so funny. Comment and do all the good stuff. Good year, Shipariam, TV Rono, everybody else who has been watching. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys later. Tuonane baadaye. Peace and blessing. I'll see you guys later. I'm out.